Hey everybody, once again, this is Bernie Borges. I am the executive producer of Social Business Engine and the host of the Social Business Engine podcast. This is episode 10 of Poolside Sales Chat. And today I want to talk about the integration of social selling process and technology. And I want to say that this topic was inspired by Kirsten Boileau. Kirsten is the head of sales enablement and social selling at SAP. She is also my guest on Social Business Engine podcast, episode 119, which will publish June 29th. If you're watching after June 29th on YouTube, go back and catch that episode 119. So I want to start by asking a question. The old question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Now in this context, which came first, social process or social technology? Well, actually, the answer is simple. Social technology came first. People, especially salespeople, started using LinkedIn and dove into what LinkedIn's potential is by networking and making connections and starting to use it as a way to build out their network and relationships and integrate it into their sales process. However, a lot of organizations, and I've seen this firsthand, think that just the social technology and using the social technology alone is social selling. And this episode is really devoted to distinguishing between sales process and social technology and really the importance of integrating the two together for a true social selling strategy. So first, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about social selling process, and then I want to talk about technology. But first, process. And I've really broken it into four categories. The first one is start with why. Like, why are you embracing social selling? Is it because it's cool and it's a fad? By the way, it's not a fad. But why? Is your customer engaging on social? Do you know that your customer, your prospective customer, is part of that 70% of B2B buyers that are conducting research in social channels? So make sure that you answer the why question very clearly. Number two, leadership buy-in. You know, this is one of those scenarios where do as I say, not as I do, doesn't fly in social selling. Leadership must be bought in, and not only bought in, but they need to be practitioners. And if the salespeople see that leadership is bought in, but they're not practitioners, then you're going to get limited adoption among the salespeople. You're going to get some, but you're not going to get full adoption. You're going to have limited success. So leadership buy-in is the second pillar, if you will, in social selling process. Number three is governance. You know, governance is not a four-letter word. Salespeople should not be afraid of it. An organization should develop a governance policy that's friendly to salespeople. It should be written in plain language, and it should explain very clearly the do's and don'ts of how salespeople should engage in social. The don'ts shouldn't be unreasonable. It should be, again, very plainly described, and the best case scenario is that the legal department that authors the governance policy actually conducts either a meeting or a conference call or maybe a pre-recorded video to explain the governance policy. And in the end, that governance policy should be a confidence booster to the sales team. It should actually boost their confidence because now they have clarity on the do's and don'ts of how to engage in social selling. Number four, perhaps the most important one, not to give more weight to one than the other, but number four is training and enablement. You know, I mentioned that this episode was inspired by Kirsten Boileau of SAP, where she heads up training and enablement for SAP sales. And so it's important that a sales organization gets some level of training on both process and technology. Just to throw technology at a sales team and say we're doing social selling, that's a limited way of thinking about it. And again, you're going to get limited results. So from a process standpoint, let me just sum it up. The four pillars of social selling processes are start with the why, get leadership buy-in, have a good, clear, well-written, well-understood governance policy, and deliver some kind of training and enablement. So that's social selling process. Now I want to talk about social selling technology. Starts with the social media channels, right? That's how we got here. So people first started using LinkedIn, but a lot of salespeople have also embraced Twitter, and there's other social channels. It really all depends on where your buyer engages. If your buyer's active on Facebook, then you can absolutely include Facebook in your social selling channels. If your buyer's active on Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, it doesn't matter. Wherever your buyer is. Maybe there are industry-specific online communities that are very social. You just go, from a social technology standpoint, you go where your buyer is and you engage with them there. Number two is CRM. CRM has been around a long time. It actually dates back to the 1980s. Now in the 80s, it wasn't called CRM, it was actually called contact management software. And the two kind of pioneering products were Act and Goldmine. And it was all about contact management. Well, over the years, it's really matured and evolved. And today, CRM, which is an acronym for Customer Relationship Management, has evolved to provide a lot more functionality. And from a social selling standpoint, a CRM is something that's really central to every salesperson. That's where you manage not just your contacts, but your whole sales process, leads, notes, deals, even collaboration and team selling. And then many recent CRM products also have a social engagement as well, a social component to them, where you can actually see how the people that you're tracking in your CRM are engaging in social media. So the second technology pillar is CRM. The third one is a really bigger category, and I'm going to call that productivity tools. Again, really broad category, but that could include things like tools to help you do your selling more efficiently. There's products out there like Kite Desk and Trapit is another. I don't know of a lot of big names, but there's a lot of niche products that do that. But then there's also productivity tools on the social media side that help you with social media monitoring and publishing and engagement and listening. And just to name a few, products like Hootsuite, TweetDeck, can't even pronounce it, TweetDeck, Buffer, Sprout Social, and many others. So these productivity tools are about simply increasing your productivity. There's so much to do in social from an engagement standpoint that you want to be as productive and as time efficient as possible. So the third category of social technology is productivity tools. And then the fourth category of social technology tools is marketing automation. Now this is a category that's only come on in the last roughly 6, 7, 8 years, give or take. And it's really more geared for marketing, but of course the whole function of marketing is to tee up sales for success. So marketing automation really is about enabling the sales team through lead generation and a lot of marketing activities that, again, tee up the sales team for success. Admittedly, a lot of marketing automation tools are now overlapping in some functionality, most notably CRM functionality. So some of the products there, again, just a small list of a few names would include HubSpot, Eloqua, Pardot, Acton, and again, there's many others. So if I tie it all together, if I tie social selling process with social technology, the whole point to this whole episode, episode 10 of Poolside Sales Chat, is that you really can't have one without the other. You can't have just technology and not provide process to the sales team. You can't have process without providing tools to make them efficient and more productive. So it's the integration of the two, and the most successful B2B sales organizations are constantly focused on not just that integration, but maximizing the balance and the integration and the productivity of both sales process and social technology. All right, well, hey, that is going to do it for episode 10 of Poolside Sales Chat. For more on this topic and topics like this, visit socialbusinessengine.com. Make sure you check out my podcast. This is episode 10 of Poolside Sales Chat, but as I record this, we've got 118 episodes of Social Business Engine podcast already published, so you can check all that out at socialbusinessengine.com. Once again, this is Bernie Borges, executive producer of Social Business Engine, wishing you continued sunshine. See ya.